Well, welcome everybody.
I remember everything you told me.
I'm here anyways, don't worry about it. Welcome everybody. This is George Trachilis, President and CEO of the Lean Leadership Institute. Every week we try to get you a leader in the industry, and Bob Miller is no different. I'll say it first, it's Miller time. So Bob's got about an hour of discussion on the Shingo Prize, the Shingo Institute, and where he has ended up in his career over the last 8 years. He was with Utah State University, and now the Shingo Prize has gone into the Shingo Institute, which administers the prize, and Bob is an affiliate of that institute, and he's now retired out of the Utah State University group. So welcome, Bob. I hope you have a great webinar here. We're all looking forward to learning a lot from you today.
Thank you very much, and welcome to all of you. It's a real privilege and honor for me to be here, as to be part of this network and to be able to learn from each of you from these various great webinars that George organizes. And I hope today that I'll be able to say some things that will be helpful and will provide a point of view and a perspective that you don't normally think about when you think about lean, or what you will hear me use the phrase operational or enterprise excellence more frequently than I use the word lean. And I've just sort of come to that place from so many different people in different parts of the world that we've worked with through the Shingo Institute that think about what they're doing in terms of business improvement through so many different names. And so I found operational excellence or enterprise excellence really even to be the broader way to think about this. So whenever I say that, you think about it in the context of however you think about it. So I really am pleased to be part of this, and George, thank you again. So just a little bit about my background. I worked for some great companies for many years, and I would invite you each to go to my website, which I think you have a link to there, a click. On my website, although it's new and relatively rudimentary, it's the beginning of a place to communicate a little bit about me and what I'm doing. For the last 8 years, I served as the executive director for the Shingo Prize, which has become the Shingo Institute. The organization has become the Shingo Institute. During that 8 years, my responsibility was really to develop the whole Shingo model. So during that time, we were originally created as a recognition organization 26, almost 27 years ago now. And the idea of the recognition organization was to be able to find the really very best companies and then evaluate them, make sure that they met the criteria, and then hold them up as a model, as a benchmark for other organizations to want to be like. And as they did that, then our hope was that it would inspire them to want to be like them. So I joined the Shingo Institute 8 years ago, and discovered to my surprise and disappointment that many of the companies have been recognized over the years and identified as the benchmark, the best companies. When I went to visit them to learn what they had done and were doing, I was very disappointed to discover that a very high percentage of them had not been able to maintain the degree of excellence that they demonstrated at the time they were evaluated and given the prize. And so in the lobby of their organization stands this beautiful trophy, but behind the double doors into the operation, they were okay, but not a world-class benchmark organization. So that led to a lot of really important questions, the outcome of which led us to redefine the standard of excellence that was required to be recognized. So what we said was, wow, it's not enough. Whatever we're looking for and we're judging to be excellent isn't enough, because these great organizations are not able to sustain the performance that they demonstrated at the time the team was in evaluating them. So then we start saying, well, why aren't they sustaining it? What's missing? So of the few that we found that over the many years that at one time were the best of the best had continued to be that way, what was different about them than the 80 or 90% that had sort of gone down and had become, basically status quo, the way they were before. Or that's not really true. Most of them had sustained some level of improvement, but certainly nothing like the level that they had once demonstrated. So what was the difference? What made the great companies be able to sustain this effort? And so that became the focus of our research and our work for quite a while. And that led us to understand culture. And really that culture is the name of the game. That's really where it has to happen. And I'm pleased to notice that most people in most conferences are talking about culture and are recognizing the critical nature of getting beyond the programs and beyond the events to embed this into the culture of their organization. So the question that we really had to address was, how do you really do that? So my work at the Shingo Institute, as we develop this model, is really around the question of what do you really ground a culture in, and how do you transform it from where it is now to becoming a culture that's grounded in lean or operational excellence. So that became my work there. After 8 years, I retired from university and was fortunate enough to become, as of this morning, an official licensed affiliate of the Shingo Institute, which allows me to continue to teach all of the curriculum, the courses that we develop, and provide implementation and deployment services to organizations around the Shingo model and what it takes to really create this culture. So in my website, you will notice that...
I want to be the first. Congratulations if I'm not the first to congratulate you. But I do have
very much, George. I appreciate that. I'm really excited about it. There's only so much you can do from inside of a university. And I'm not accustomed to working inside a university because my background is operational, and I've worked with some wonderful, great companies that have been really, really wonderful to me in terms of my own experience. So you can read about that when you read about me and my background. You can read the services that I provide in the new organization I call Arches Leadership. And the whole notion of arches, if you've ever been to Utah, you'll know that in Utah we have a lot of really beautiful arches. You can see them on the website right there. But in the ancient Greek culture, an arch, the word arche stood for the first principle, or the foundation, the fundamental in the beginning. And when you really look at building a culture of excellence, it has to be grounded in these, from the foundation, at the very root of it all, core principles. And so Arches Leadership felt to me like the way to describe the critical nature of what it really takes to build a sustainable culture of excellence based on these first fundamental basic principles. So what I hope that you'll be able to get from this conversation, you'll get an interest in the things that I'm talking about, and you'll join me in my blog. You'll see on the homepage that there's a blog, and I just started this a few weeks ago, and I'm in the process of writing a book on the things that I've learned from my affiliation with the Shingo Institute. And so my blog is going to follow the topics that will be in the book. And so I hope that you will join me through my LinkedIn, and then Nick, you'll see a link in there to LinkedIn. Join me in LinkedIn, and then every time I make an addition to a posting on my blog, you'll get copied on it, and you'll be able to read it, think about it, reflect on it, send it to others that you know in your network, and then comment on it. So your comments will be really helpful as I collect these thoughts, plus my own experiences over my years, and capture them in my book. So I will look forward and hope that you'll join me in that process. So you can see the LinkedIn account there. And if you go that, and several of you already, thank you, have already requested or joined in. And so I appreciate that. And I'll look forward to affiliating with you through that. So let me jump in and start to get into the content. There's so much that I could talk about. So what I've done is I tried to strip it down to the basic core message that really represents the Shingo model. And I should tell you, for those of you who may not know, that the Shingo model is the Shingo Prize was created 26 years ago as a criteria for assessing organizations for recognition. About 8 years ago, we realized that it didn't really represent a model. It just represented some things to look for. And what we were looking for were the wrong things. And so what we created was a model that represented the things that we have learned about what it takes to create sustainable culture. So I'm going to introduce that to you today and use that. So Mr. Shingo, Shigeo Shingo, received his honorary doctorate degree from Utah State University 27 years ago, and honored us by allowing us to use his name in this recognition initiative. So we have tried to take many ideas from his extensive work, but this model is based on a lot of work from a lot of thought leaders over many years. This is a picture of Mr. Shingo. He used to say that it's not enough just to teach people the know-how. It requires people to know a lot more than just how to do something. If you really want their hearts and their full capability, you need to teach people why. And the reason he used to say this, because it was frustrating to him when people would go visit other plants, and what they would see things on the surface, and then they would try and copy the tools and the methods that they saw. But Mr. Shingo knew that what really made great companies great were not the things that you saw on the surface, but the things that were deeply embedded into the know-why, or the principles or the concepts, he called them, the concepts behind what people actually do.